Well, Single Malt TV has now brought its cameras to Trafalgar Square in the heart of London, teeming with red buses, people and pigeons, thousands of pigeons. We're here to visit the Albannach, a bar restaurant which you can't see because it's behind the bus, but it's a Scottish, stylish, modern Scottish bar restaurant. Opened 2 years ago, not a trace of tartan, although if you look carefully you'll see that the staff wear kilts, but the kilts are actually pinstripe kilts. We are, after all, in the middle of London. But the main reason for going there is to meet Jim Wrigley, the bar manager, who is also an expert mixologist and who has done a lot of work creating new Scotch-based cocktails, but based upon classic cocktails. What's Scotch whisky like as a base for cocktails?
As a base for cocktails, it's the same as anything to do with putting flavors together. And that's basically what we do when we make cocktails. It's what you do when you make food. It's what the master distiller does when he puts together a whiskey. It's what the master blender does when he puts together a particular bottle. It's all about the flavors. And they come from so many different areas. If you're talking about a decent cut of beef, it's from where it's reared, what it's eaten, how it's been taken care of, what the harvests have been like, and things like that. The same with whiskies, your microclimates, the geology, they all affect things. And when we flavor pair whiskies with food, or wines with food, or any set of flavorings that go together, it's generally done on either a like for like or a diametric opposite. You see the old blenders charts, and they have all the flavors in them in the wheel and color coded. And anything that's directly opposite each other will flavor pair, as well as anything that's at 90 degrees, as well as anything that's right next to it. And you can work with those flavors. Well, all of those bottles on the back bar there, every single one of them has a completely different flavor, as you well know. What we do with whiskey cocktails is what's been done with cocktails all along. Is take a base ingredient and work with the flavors of it. With whiskey, if you look at tasting notes on different whiskies, you're talking about a massive range of flavors. It can be as esoteric as some of Jim Murray's best ones. Smells like when I was in a canoe and fishing, and there was the fish, and then there was the wood of the canoe and the smell of the thing. You know that. But
then, if you say you've got a description like that,
yeah.
How will you look around for complementary flavors to build into the cocktail?
You can do it very simply. So if you have something that's bourbon cast, you know it's going to be heavy in vanillins. It's probably going to have sweeter elements to it. You're going to be able to work with coffee, caramel, chocolate, vanilla flavors, and anything that works there. So if you were thinking about food, you'd be thinking about, okay, well, I'm going to have a coffee chocolate cake here. So I'll put these flavors in, I'll put some sugar and some caramel in, I'll add a dash of vanilla essence and things like that, so that they work with those base flavors. Exactly the same with cocktails. If you've got a cocktail that's got citrus elements, I'll knock up one of our big sellers, and you can kind of see. So starting with the whiskey, we'll start with a well-known whiskey. Well-known bottle, not something you see every day on a whiskey bottle, a single malt whiskey bottle. There's a pour spout on it for ease of use. When you're working with something like Glenmorangie, it's typical of where it comes from. It's light in colour, it's light in flavour, it has citrus notes. It's got those kind of lovely grassy peach things going on there, and it's a really, really good. One of the reasons for its success is that it's accessible to everyone. But it still retains complexity of flavour. So if you're going to work with that as a base ingredient, you've got to think about those kind of fresh flavours that it's got in there, the citrus and the body that it's got there. So one of the most popular cocktails around is the mojito. I think pretty much every bar.
Mojito was originally a rum-based cocktail, was it not?
Indeed, it is. It's a marriage of the American mint julep, which is a whiskey drink using mint, mint and sugar and whiskey and ice, and the daiquiri, which was the traditional way of drinking rum after the end of the 19th century in Cuba. So they'd take their mint, and instead of adding whiskey and sugar, they'd add rum and lime and sugar to working with those flavors. Now, when we were working with the flavors, the idea for the drink came first. and it was going to be quite simply substituting rum for whiskey. I was looking for a whiskey originally that had the same sort of flavorings as rum, and then I reasoned that maybe I didn't need to do that. Maybe I could actually take all of the different flavors and then work with a whiskey that was going to complement lime and sugar. So here we got, there's fresh mint. I mean, you obviously know what fresh mint is like, but as an ingredient, this is really good stuff. It's fresh in today. So this is homemade Muscovado gum. So we take Muscovado, a light unrefined sugar, and we just cook it down with some water. That's simple. It's 50-50. It means that we can liquid add sweet, but because it's unrefined, because it's Muscovado, and you can tell from the color, it's got chocolate, caramel, rich flavors, and it's going to provide a big whack of backbone to the flavors in here, and obviously it's going to work well with the mint. So, shot at that. What we do now is, part of the joy of being a bartender means that you're automatically a biologist, a chemist, and a physicist all in one. So, using the biology side, we're pushing the oils out into that solution of sugar and water. So we're getting the mint flavor out there, but we're not breaking it up too much. We're not going to leave little shreds of mint all over the place. And
it's called muddling,
isn't it? It is indeed, yes. So we muddle that out. So we've taken that, we've basically made a fresh mint syrup with Muscovado sugar. We're going to add some crushed ice. Now, crushed ice is the traditional ice ingredient. Originally it would have been taken from a big block, chopped it to bits, cut it down to the size they wanted. We, of course, these days have machines to do that for us. So taking the crushed ice, it's going to make it cold, dilute it, and also hold all the ingredients together. So I'm going to use fresh lime juice, which we squeezed today. Quite simply, just fresh limes. Now, I should probably added a little bit too much there, so I'll add a little bit more gum.
What proportions are you working on?
It's 1-1, but it's slightly heavier on the lime because the Muscovado is so rich, because the mint's so heavy. We want to kind of bring out the sour elements of it. We're going to work with citrus flavors as well. This is peach bitters. Bitters are a standard in a lot of cocktails. It's a way of adding depth and a whole range of characteristics because they're concentrated flavors, which you add a couple of drops, and it gives it complexity that it might not have had before. So literally just 2 drops in there. The idea of this came from in Georgia in the 1800s. They drank their juleps with a little bit of peach, either fresh squeezed peach or peach liqueur in there, which gave it a kind of citrus flavor. I'm just gonna, so just needs a little bit more sugar. So, there we are, Charles, if you just want to try that. So this has no whiskey in it at all. And that's what we're starting off with.
Good.
So, nice,
good
fresh, light. There's no alcohol in there yet. Next thing we're going to add is this is just peach liqueur. This range of liqueurs really, really good. Neutral grain spirit, alcohol, a little bit of sugar, and then the fresh essence of ingredients. But they use fresh ingredients. So it's just about half a shot of peach. Obviously, that's made it sweeter again. So just gonna put that together. Now comes the important part. Finish it off. We're just going to whack in a lot of whiskey. Now, for a non-whiskey drinker, that would seem to be a lot of a malt to put in. We do want the whole point of working with the flavors is that we're taking those flavors to come through. So at this point, we should have our mint solution together with the peach liqueur and the peach bitters really coming through, soured off by the lime, and that has gone in there, and all of those different flavors should work. So presentation-wise, it's kind of fun as well. Okay, now so with the garnish, you're always working with the garnish to work with the flavors as well. Whiskey's in there, all the different ingredients are in there. Just wake up those oils the same way as we were from pressing it and tuck that in there. So when you're drinking it, you're going to get the fresh mint on the nose. And that's a Mosquito, a Scotch mojito.
Beautiful.
And we've worked with the base flavors of Glenmorangie. So as a cocktail, we're talking about an aperitif, an opening cocktail. It's going to open your palate, it's light, it's refreshing. You don't have to have built up to it with any sort of flavors or anything to have started you off, much as you would start off with a nice white wine or A lot of people start off with a beer at the beginning of their meals. Similar sort of thing. As we recommend whiskies for people who come in just to drink whiskies over the course of an evening, we'll take them through various different stages. One of the things that we'll do is open them on a light whiskey, which Glenmorangie is one of the best ones.
Other ones that you'd use as an opener?
Speyside, guaranteed.
The light style of Speysides.
Yeah, spiciness, great, little sweet flavourings. Not necessarily a wood finish, although Balvenie double wood, really good sort of opener as an opener for people who don't like whiskey, because it's round enough with the wood flavours in there for people to pick up different sides and things. Edward Hour is another great opener, soft and smooth, but with a great length on it, still explaining to people how whiskies work. And then maybe a light Islay, maybe, but Bruichladdich obviously springs to mind straight away.
Bunnahabhain sort of style.
Yeah, but Bunnahabhain probably a little bit more. I think it's an unsung hero of Islay because everyone tends to pick on the heavier pieces of malts, and I think Bunnahabhain, especially at the 12, is a great whiskey for non-whiskey drinkers, and it starts them off with their introduction to regions. They then understand all about this little island, which is great.
How do I drink it? Do I drink it through the straws from the bottom? Or
drink it through the straws from the bottom. If it jams up with mint, then you just stir it around a little bit.
That's astonishing because the flavour, very lightly, the flavour of the whiskey does come through.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought that because it was so citric and minty earlier on.
Yeah.
And I can taste the peach as well.
Yeah.
Balance.
But I think if we were to go back now, I mean, when you're flavour pairing, as you're saying about doing the trip up to Islay and working with the flavour pairing in food, if you flavour pair whiskies with food and then you go back to the whiskey afterwards, whatever flavours you put with it will then suddenly become predominant. So if we you just want to try your Glenmorangie, which you'll know the Glenmorangie 10 inside out, but going back to it, having tried a little bit of that,
brings out sweetness in the Glenmorangie.
Yeah, so I think this is one that we recommend for the girls during summer.
Fascinating.
And it's
But it transforms. It really brings out different flavours in the Glenmorangie.
I mean,
very nice, fresh, clean drink.
Yeah. As we're going into winter, we won't sell as many of them, I'm sure. But as a way of working
that's a bestseller in Albannach.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. It's one of those drinks after work. You can imagine it's sort of relaxing. Come in, have that, and it's important for me that when we're working with whiskey and cocktails, we're sticking to the spirit of the thing, which is cutting edge of whiskey, trying to push back the boundaries, trying to get everyone involved in every different aspect, and breaking a lot of taboos. Thou shalt not add water or ice.
Who invented that? Was this one of your creations?
Yeah, this is one of the.
It works fantastically well.
Thank you. Right.